So with M. Night Shyamalan's new movie Trap on the way, I eventually want to review every M. Night Shyamalan movie. I think every time we get a new M. Night Shyamalan movie, I'm just going to pick one of his movies, do a review for it. That's just what I'm going to do. So I wanted to do The Sixth Sense, because even though it's not his first movie, I think there's a lot here to talk about. And there's a specific reason I wanted to talk about it. I'll get into that in a minute. Um, I really enjoyed The Sixth Sense. I think everybody loves this movie, but I also think it's super underrated. Let's get into that. So, this is not M. Night Shyamalan's first movie. His first movie was Wide Awake. It was a little interesting, kind of religious commentary movie with M. Night Shyamalan, which is kind of interesting because he went and incorporated some of those themes into the movie Signs, which he did, I believe, after Sixth Sense. It could be wrong. Or was it Unbreakable? I can't remember which one. But, he kind of did that a little bit later. So it's kind of not unusual for him, but it's also a very odd movie in his filmography because it's nothing like any of his other filmography. But he directed this movie, and it was a very surprise smash hit. It did really well, made a ton of money, everybody was talking about it. And I think this movie falls in this rare category of movies where everybody loves the movie, but no one talks about the movie. And what I mean by that is if you hear people talk about this movie, they say, oh wow, the twist was really good, and that's just a really good movie. There's nothing really deeper than that. No one really talks about the filmmaking on display, the amazing performances, like what makes this movie as good as it is. And I think like Jurassic Park, Jaws, E.T., a few other movies like kind of fall into that category where it's just this pop culture movie that is good, everybody loves, but no one wants to talk about what makes it great. And to me, this movie, number one, is carried by Bruce Willis. Hot take. Actually, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think it's a true take that more people just need to wake up and realize too. Bruce Willis, while being a great action star and stuff like Die Hard, should never have been the action hero guy that he later became in his career. This guy is a terrific dramatic actor, gives incredible dramatic performances, and this is no exception. This is fucking incredible, the performance here. Haley Joel Osment's performance is incredible. This kid, I really don't understand how he gives such great performances in these movies at such a young age. I really don't get it. He was a miracle back in the day with some of these movies. I mean, the fact that Stanley Kubrick, of all people, when working on AI before Spielberg took over after his untimely passing, looked at Haley Joel Osment and wanted him in the movie. It was just a testament. Like, some of the greatest film directors kind of worked with this kid, and they're all like, damn, this kid can really act. Spielberg worked with him, M. Night Shyamalan, so many other legendary people, and it's kind of crazy. And there's so many great sequences within this movie. Throughout the entire film, really, they're just truly wonderful. Of just, capturing the pain of what this kid's going through, making the suspense go through. Of course, everybody knows the twist. Spoilers if you don't know the twist. Bruce Willis a ghost the whole time. It's not really a spoiler because one, I think people over dramatize the word spoiler. Like, I feel like people get really upset when you spoil a movie. Like, oh, you're ruining the movie. But if the movie's good, it really doesn't fucking matter if the movie's spoiled for you. Like, yeah, I feel like this movie works a lot better first viewing if you know that Bruce Willis is a ghost. But guess what? I've seen the movie like 8 times, and I knew Bruce Willis is a ghost, and it gets better on repeat viewings. So, and I think that's the one. The other thing too is you see all the clever camera tricks and ideas that Shyamalan put on display to hide the fact that Bruce Willis is a ghost from you. Until that review, it's really incredible stuff. It's just a great movie. I think, and so I don't know. Now let's get into why I reviewed this movie. I think why I reviewed this movie is not just because I love this movie, right? Clearly, I love this movie. I'm doing nothing but singing its praises right now. But I think what bothers me about thinking about this movie is thinking about where we are in Hollywood now. You know, where movies like this were hits. Um, and this was a surprise hit, but there were still tons of other smaller indie kind of art house movies by directors coming into the scene, and now we have none of that. We have um, we have nothing but commercial blockbusters and really nothing else. There's occasionally like a couple other like random things, like maybe I'll have a surprise like Barbie and Oppenheimer doing well, but for the most part, Hollywood has become the franchise machine, the IP machine, with some other horror movies and animated movies in there as well. But it's really just it's broken, because we need to get back to this. And I think and I think that's every time I watch this movie, I think about that. I think about where we are now and how do we get back to that. And one day I hope we do, but I think it just makes me appreciate that time and place every time I watch this movie. And it's just really interesting to think about. If you really love this movie, you should also want that era of Hollywood to come back, because we're not getting movies like The Sixth Sense anymore. And it's because they're not being made, but they're not being seen and being events, and it's hurting the industry. So let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.